Hello, children. Today we are going to do a chapter from Echoes, a collection of ISC short stories. The name of the chapter is Salvatore, written by W. Somerset Maugham, a great novelist and short story writer. He was the most popular writer of his era. Salvatore is an interesting story. It is based on a very common human weakness. For most people, the things spoken about oneself are more important than the man himself. That causes lots of difficulties and misunderstanding, which ruin the happiness of persons involved in the case forever. So let's begin the chapter. Salvatore. I wonder if I can do it. Immediately, the author catches our attention. I knew Salvatore first when he was a boy of 15 with a pleasant face, a laughing mouth, and carefree eyes. This is the character of Salvatore. He used to spend the morning lying about the beach with next to nothing on, and his brown body was as thin as a rail. It was not that he has a very muscular body, he was quite thin. He was full of grace. He was in and out of the sea all the time, swimming with clumsy, effortless stroke common to the fisher boys. Clumsy means awkward. They don't go anywhere to learn swimming. Scrambling up the jagged rocks on his hard feet, for except on Sundays, he never wore shoes. Why on Sundays? Because he would go to church. He would throw himself into the deep water with a cry of delight. His father was a fisherman who owned his own little vineyard, and Salvatore acted as nursemaid to his two younger brothers. As he was the eldest, he was like a nurse to his two younger brothers, taking care of them. He shouted to them to come inshore when they ventured out too far, and made them dress when it was time to climb the hot, vine-clad hill for the frugal midday meal. Frugal means economical, not very lavish. He was doing the job of a mother when they went too far. He would make them even dress. But boys in those southern parts grow apace quick. And in a little while he was madly in love with a pretty girl who lived on the Grand Marina. He falls in love desperately with a girl living in Grand Marina. She had eyes like forest pools and held herself like a daughter of Caesar's. Very royal. She behaved as she has come from a very royal family. They were affianced, but they could not marry till Salvatore had done his military service, and when he left the island, which he had never left in his life before, to become a sailor in the navy of King Victor Emmanuel. He wept like a child. He is leaving for the first time. He is leaving his family. He is leaving his beloved behind. And he is a very simple fellow, so he is crying like a child. It was hard for one who had never been less free than the birds to be at the beck and call of others. Means he did as he wished. It was harder still to live in a battleship with strangers instead of in a little white cottage among the vines. Here you could live in a free manner, and there as if in prison, held in captivity. And when he was ashore, to walk in noisy, friendless cities with streets so crowded that he was frightened to cross them, when he had been used to silent paths and the mountains and the sea. He was a child of nature, and here in the city he felt very uncomfortable, he felt very frightened. I suppose it had never struck him that Ischia, which he looked at every evening, it was like a fairy island in the sunset, to see what the weather would be like next day, or Vesuvius pearly in the dawn, had anything to do with him at all. But when he ceased to have them before his eyes, he realized in some dim fashion that they were as much part of him as his hands and feet. He was dreadfully homesick. Dreadfully means badly. He was very dreadfully homesick. Means he wanted to go back home at any cost as soon as it was possible for him. But it was hardest of all to be parted from the girl he loved with all his passionate young heart. He wrote to her in his childlike handwriting long, ill-spelt letters in which he told her how constantly he thought of her and how much he longed to be back. He wrote lengthy love letters written clumsily. He was sent here and there to Spezia, to Venice, to Bari, and finally to China. There are special places where he was sent as a soldier. Here he fell ill. Here in China, he fell ill of some mysterious ailment, some strange illness he had that kept him in hospitals for months. He bore it with the mute and uncomprehending patience of a dog. When he learnt that it was a form of rheumatism that made him unfit for further service, his heart exulted. Exulted means instead of feeling sad, he felt very happy over the sickness that he had. And what was the sickness? What was the name of his ailment? Rheumatism. For he could go home because he knew now he could go back to his home. And he did not bother. In fact, he scarcely listened when the doctors told him that he would never again be quite well. It was good news to him when doctors told him that he will never be able to be well again. What did he care when he was going back to the little island he loved so well and the girl who was waiting for him? He knew that the girl whom he had loved so much, the girl also must be waiting for his arrival. When he got into the rowing boat that met the steamer from Naples and was rowed ashore, he saw his father and mother standing on the jetty and his two brothers. So his whole family has come to give him a nice reception. They have come to take him back home. Big boys now, his two brothers. And he waved to them. His eyes searched among the crowd that waited there for the girl. But out of so many people, he was looking for that girl. His eyes searched among the crowd that waited there for the girl. He could not see her. There was a great deal of kissing when he jumped up the steps, and they all, emotional creatures, cried a little when they exchanged their greetings. They were very simple people, so they showed emotions. He asked where the girl was. His mother told him that she did not know. They had not seen her for 2 or 3 weeks. So, in the evening when the moon was shining over the placid sea means over the calm sea, and the lights of Naples twinkled in the distance, he walked down to the Grand Marina to her house. She was sitting on the doorstep with her mother. He was a little shy because he had not seen her for so long. He asked her if she had not received the letter that he had written to her to say that he was coming home. That means he wants to inform her that he has come back. So, before coming home, he had written a letter telling her about his arrival. And of course, he had expected her to receive him. Yes, they had received a letter, and they had been told by another of the island boys that he was ill. Yes, that was why he was back. Was it not a piece of luck? Oh, but they had heard that he would never be quite well again. Here he is asking, see how lucky I am. My illness brought me home. Here he was totally unaware of the great blow that was about to come to him. The doctor talked a lot of nonsense, but he knew very well that now he was home again, he would recover. They were silent for a little, and then the mother nudged the girl. Nudged the girl means pushed gently with elbow. She did not try to soften the blow. She told him straight out with a blunt directness. Blunt directness means very directly she told him of her race that she could not marry a man who would never be strong enough to work like a man. See how practical she was. They had made up their minds, her mother and father and she, and her father would never give consent. She tells Salvatore very bluntly that they have decided to discontinue this alliance and they cannot be married now. When Salvatore went home, he found that they all knew, his family members knew about this. The girl's father had been told them what they had decided, but they had lacked the courage to tell him themselves. He wept on his mother's bosom. He was terribly unhappy, but he did not blame the girl. A fisherman's life is hard and it needs strength and endurance. When we are sad, the only person we can get consolation is from our mother. He knew very well that a girl could not afford to marry a man who might not be able to support her. His smile was very sad and his eyes had the look of a dog that has been beaten, but he did not complain. And he never said a hard word of the girl he had loved so well. This is true love. We don't see the faults of the person whom we really love. Then a few months later, when he had settled down to the common round, working in his father's vineyard and fishing, his mother told him that there was a young woman in the village who was willing to marry him, and his name is Asanta. She is as ugly as the devil, he said. Alright. So that woman who wants to marry him is very bad looking. And the girl whom he wanted to marry was very good looking. And here one more difference is there, that the ugly woman is offering to marry and the beautiful girl had refused him. She was older than he, 24 or 25, and she had been engaged to a man who, while doing his military service, had been killed in Africa. She had a little money of her own, and if Salvatore married her, she could buy him a boat of his own and they could take a vineyard that by chance happened at that moment to be without a tenant. So she knows that if Salvatore won't be as strong, she can support him because she knows him to be a good man. She knows the value of his good qualities. His mother told him that Asanta had seen at the festa is the festival, and had fallen in love with him. Salvatore smiled, his sweet smile, and said he would think about it. On the following Sunday, dressed in the stiff black clothes in which he looked so much less well than in the rag shirt and trousers of every day, he went up to high mass at the parish church and placed himself so that he could have a good look at the young woman. And when he came down again, he told his mother that he was willing. His mother told him about Asanta. He told his mother he would think about her and finally gave his consent to marry her. Well, they were married and they settled down in a tiny whitewashed house in the middle of a handsome vineyard. Salvatore was now a great big husky fellow. Husky means strong, tall and broad, but still with that ingenuous smile, ingenuous, honorable smile, and those trusting, kindly eyes that he had as a boy. He must have grown into a very stout man, but he has that simplicity and innocence of a child still on his face. He had the most beautiful manners I have ever seen in my life. Asanta was a grim-faced woman, grim-faced, sad-faced, serious-looking female with decided features, and she looked old for her years. She had seen the good qualities of Salvatore, knew what a gem he was, and she had chosen him. But she had a good heart and she was no fool. I used to be amused by the little smile of devotion that she gave her husband when he was being very masculine and masterful. She never ceased to be touched by his gentle sweetness, but she could not bear the girl who had thrown him over, and notwithstanding Salvatore's smiling expostulations, she had nothing but harsh words for her. As it is she's older than Salvatore, and she looked old for a year. So if she is 24 or 25, she must be looking 30 plus. She was very angry with that girl who had refused Salvatore. Presently, children were born to them. It was a hard enough life. All through the fishing season, towards evening, he set out in his boat with one of his brothers for the fishing grounds. It was a long pull of 6 or 7 miles, and he spent the night catching the profitable cuttlefish. Then there was the long row back again in order to sell the catch in time for it to go on the early boat to Naples. At other times, he was working in his vineyard from dawn till the heat drove him to rest, and then again when it was a trifle cooler. Trifle means of a very little value. Till dusk, often his rheumatism prevented him from doing anything at all, and then he would lie about the beach smoking cigarettes with a pleasant word for everyone, notwithstanding the pain that racked his limbs. Very tough life fishermen have. In spite of a very painful illness, he would always have kind words and light words for everyone. The foreigners who came down to bathe and saw him there said these Italian fishermen were lazy devils. People of that place knew Salvatore very well, but foreigners never knew about the illness that he had, because he never showed it and always had a smiling face, so they thought him to be a lazy fellow. Sometimes he used to bring his children down to give them a bath. They were both boys, and this time the elder was 3 and the younger less than 2. Quite small kids. They sprawled about at the water's edge, stark entirely naked. And Salvatore, standing on a rock, would dip them in the water. The elder one bore it with stoicism and indifference to pleasure and pain. But the baby screamed lustily. Salvatore had enormous hands like legs of mutton, coarse and hard from constant toil. But when he bathed his children, holding them so tenderly, drying them with delicate care, upon my word, they were like flowers. He would seat the naked baby on the palm of his hand and hold him up. He is so small and his palms are too big. Laughing a little at his smallness, and his laugh was like the laughter of an angel. Here, laughter of Salvatore is compared to the laughter of an angel. His eyes then were as candid as his child's. Candid is just, truthful. His eyes have been compared here with the eyes of his children. I started by saying that I wondered if I could do it, and now I must tell you what it is that I have tried to do. In the beginning he kept it as a suspense, but now he wants to tell us what he had tried so far. I wanted to see whether I could hold your attention for a few pages while I drew for you the portrait of a man, just an ordinary fisherman who possessed nothing in the world except a quality which is the rarest, the most precious and the loveliest that anyone can have. So what is that quality? Heavens only knows why he should so strangely and unexpectedly have possessed it. How did he come to possess it? Only God knows. All I know is that it shone in him with a radiance that if it had not been unconscious and so humble, would have been to the common run of men hardly bearable. And in case you have not guessed what the quality was, I will tell you. So what is that quality which Salvator has? The rarest quality? Goodness. Just goodness. It is goodness that he bore the blow from the lady he loved so passionately. It is his goodness that he took her side. He thought of her. It is his goodness, or other his goodness, which only Jacinta had realized and fell in love with Salvator and decided to marry him. So, children, it is a very nice story. Give importance to the title and the theme. Read the story well, as it is a very interesting story.